Hey guys, how's it going? So, today I am going to play some Hearthstone, and the Witchwood expansion recently was released, so I'm going to do a quest which you have to do 10 standard games in. Now, normally I play with this deck in Wild, because I basically only play Wild. I play with this deck which is like a demon warlock with a bunch of giants and sea naga. But for the purposes of this video, as you can see, all of my decks are Wild decks. I actually had to create a standard deck because I literally never play standard. So I created a deck which is basically the same as my Wild Warlock, but obviously because it is Wild, there's a few cards that you can't put in the standard deck. So I put in a few new ones like a Voodoo Doll, and yeah, I think that's the only new card that I really have in here. And yeah, I am going to play with this deck since it's basically the same as the deck that I play most often in Wild, and obviously the quest is win 10 games in standard play mode. So we are going to do that today, and unfortunately for the person or the people who I am going to play against, as I said, I never play standard, so I am rank 25. So unfortunately for them, they aren't going to have a very good time of it. But there's really nothing much that I can do about that, since the quest requires you to play in standard. So yeah, there's nothing really I can do about that. Unfortunately, I am going to be crushing a few new players with my extremely good deck. So I apologize to them, but as I said, there's unfortunately nothing that I can do about that. So we can keep this one. Ideally with this deck you want to get Skull of Manari in your opening hand. Cobalt Librarian is a very good card to get in your opening hand also. Obviously also, especially if you have the Amethyst Spellstone in your opening hand, so that can get a little bit better, and so that it can get upgraded with cards like the Cobalt Librarian, Hellfire, stuff like that that damage your own face. Then this gets upgraded, obviously. So for you guys who have been subscribers for a while, you will obviously know that I haven't done one of these videos in quite a while. It's probably been a few months since I last did a Hearthstone gameplay video. That's simply because I've been busy, especially in the past week or so, when I have been working on different content with the new Witchwood expansion, obviously. So let's see here. We will do that, and we will do that, and we will do that. So yeah, I am obviously busy with the new expansion, with Witchwood expansion's content, and you can obviously expect a lot of new videos on the channel over the next few days and weeks. One thing that is really cool, which I'm quite happy about, is the fact that the channel recently, like only a few days ago, reached 10 million views. So I'm pretty happy about that. It actually shot way past 10 million views already. I actually got like 300,000 views over the past 2 days from the Witchwood expansion releasing. So that's actually really good. 150,000 views per day. So that's really good. And yeah, so I basically just wanted to kind of make this video a 10 million views special, if you could call it that. So happy birthday to me for having 10 million views. That's pretty cool. There's a bunch of channels that have 40,000 subscribers and 50,000 subscribers that don't even come close to 10 million views. And that's really cool, since you don't really need a lot of subscribers. Just as long as you are getting the views, then I'm absolutely happy with that. So this thing is a 7/7. We can kill it pretty easily by playing the Voodoo Doll and then playing the Dark Pact on top of the Voodoo Doll. Or we can just use the Greater Amethyst Spellstone on it. That's actually also a pretty good way to deal with it. So I will life tap once and then use the Amethyst Spellstone, and then next turn my Skull of Lunara will pull out the Doomguard. Despite this guy being rank 25, he's actually got a pretty good deck here. He is probably playing the Shudderwock deck. Shudderwock is one of the new legendaries in the Witchwood expansion, and it basically involves you playing a lot of Battlecry minions, and then you play Shudderwock and just get a crapload of value from that. So this is almost definitely a Shudderwock deck, which I think we should be able to deal with absolutely fine without much problems.
The demons are hard to find.
Okay, so I think here the best option will be to do a Hellfire, and then after that I can play a Dark Reaper, I think. Yeah, that should be fine. Let me just think. Yeah, I think that's fine. And then we play the Dark Reaper, and that should be good. Next turn I can play the Carnivorous Cube on top of my Doomguard, and then play Dark Pact on top of the Carnivorous Cube, and that will give me 10 damage burst in order to be able to kill him.
How long can this go on? How long can this go on? A paltry
So we don't really need to do that right now, but if he does have Hex, then we are going to be sad. So in case he has Hex, I will play the Dark Pact now, because if this thing gets hexed, it will be very bad. So yeah, basically I'm pretty happy with the way that the channel is going. I'm getting a lot of growth with the channel, and every month that passes, I'm just getting more views, more subscribers, so the channel is steadily gaining popularity and growth, so that's really good, and I am happy about that, even though sometimes like a week will go past where I don't upload anything. I fortunately am still seeing growth even during those times when I don't upload anything for like a week or so. I still see growth during those times, and new subscribers, more views and all of that, so I'm really quite happy about that. So let's throw away the mountain giant, or should I keep it? I think I can keep it. The possessed lackey I should definitely keep, I think. Yeah, I don't think the mortal coil is good. I would much rather have something like hellfire instead of a mortal coil, but the lesser amethyst spellstone is also fine. That's perfectly fine, and we get the hellfire, that's good. So this is looking pretty good. Fortunately, we were able to beat the previous shaman, the Shudderwock shaman, and we fortunately were able to beat him before he was able to play Shudderwock, because Shudderwock costs, I think, 9 mana, so if he had played the Shudderwock, we would have definitely been in a pretty bad position. Okay, so he's drawing cards with that thing. If I coin out the hellfire right now, then I will be denying him 1 card draw, but I don't know if I really want to do that, but I think I should do that. I think that's actually good. Or no, I don't want to do that. I will just end my turn, and then next turn I can coin out the Skull of Manari, or I can play the Mountain Giant. But I think what I will do is coin out the Skull of Manari, since that will be really good. Or I can just play the Hellfire right now. I think that will be better. To play it now, and then next turn I can play the Skull of Manari, and then I still have the coin for later. So that's pretty good. And this guy is probably basically the same deck as what we faced previously. He's also a Shudderwock shaman, probably.
There is a method to my madness.
Okay, that's a good card to get out, and we can play the Amethyst Spellstone on that guy. And we can then probably just life tap after that. So let's first life tap, and then we can play the Amethyst Spellstone after that. So it's going pretty good so far. Our Skull of Manari is able to get a lot of value early on. And there comes the Hex, but that's not too bad. Fortunately, that's one less Hex that he will be able to use for my Carnivorous Cubes, since if he gets a Hex on my Carnivorous Cubes, then I am very sad. And we will kill the totem, I think. We don't really care about 2 damage minion on the field. We care a little bit more about the totem, because he can get totem synergy and stuff like that from other cards. Okay, so that will wipe our board, but he will have some overload on the next turn, so that's not too bad.
This one will prove very useful.
Okay, so we can play the mountain giant, but I think I want to life tap first. Okay, and then we can play the mountain giant. And then we will just end our turn, or we can kill one of those with a mortal coil. I think we will do that on there. And we can actually use a mortal coil on this one also. Okay. I was hoping to maybe draw a Doomguard so that my Skull of Manari can pull out the Doomguard also, but it's not too bad. Okay, Spirit Singer Umbra will be good, since that will pull out our Doomguard immediately.
The greatest virtue is faith.
Oh yes, they'll serve me now.
And now, basically just to make 100% sure that he can't kill me, I will just kill my own minion in order to get 8 extra HP. Because otherwise he could potentially do something like double lightning bolt and then a lava burst or anything like that to the face. And we definitely do not want that to happen. So do I have lethal right now? We are obviously going to do that, and then going to do that, and yes, I do have lethal, so that's pretty good. So yeah, that was, I think, another one of those Shudderwock shamans, because he played a bunch of battle cry cards. So I was actually thinking that I would be going up against a bunch of weak cards, but I have to say I've been so far encountering 2 very good decks so far, as you would call them, meta decks. So it seems I'm not the only one who basically never plays standard and now have started playing standard, because those 2 previous guys were also rank 25, but those were definitely not rank 25 cards that they were playing there. So yeah, as I said, there's definitely, or I'm definitely not the only guy who is playing at this rank with a better than average deck. So this will be a pretty good defile. We will just go ahead and do the defile, and then we can play the Cobalt Librarian. That will draw another card for us, and the next turn I will probably play the Mountain Giant. And yeah, it's not looking good for this guy because he's only got 4 cards and I have 9 cards on my next turn, so it's definitely not looking good for this guy. I wonder why he did that. That was certainly not the correct thing to do there. There was absolutely no reason for him to attack his guy into my mountain giant. It would have been much more beneficial for him if he attacked his guy into my face, because then I would have been much more pressed to actually attack my mountain giant into his guy. But now I have no pressure on me to attack my guy into his guy. I simply attacked it to his face. So that certainly wasn't a very good move that he made there. Let us draw another card. I can't life tap right now because I'm at 10 cards right now. So let's play Kobold Librarian. And I get a Dark Reaper, that's good. I will play the Dark Reaper. And I will just attack the rest of the stuff into the face. And I can't life tap because otherwise I will burn a card. So as I said, he has very few cards and I have a bunch of cards, so it's not looking good for him. And I got a relatively good card. It's not amazing, but it is a pretty good 2-drop card, or 2 mana cost card. Once again there, it's not at all advantageous for him to attack into my guy, because he gets 0 benefit from that. So here I will just be doing that and that, and then draw a card, and then just in order to stop myself from burning a card, I will play Spirit Singer Umbra. There's still a possibility that I will burn a card. If Nat Pagel actually draws a card for me, then I will burn a card. So we should actually hope that that doesn't happen. But let's see what he does. If he doesn't do much, then I will just play the Queen and Voidlord. Okay, but he gives up. But we can obviously see that he didn't have an extremely good deck there, so that is unfortunately one of the rank 25 players who don't really have a good deck.
Gul'dan versus Anduin.
So I probably have said this before in previous videos, but really the reason why I don't play standard, the reason why I only play wild, is really just because, in my opinion, wild requires much more skill, and it's a much more skillful mode than standard, because in standard you only get like whatever, 500, maybe 600 cards to choose from, but in wild you get much more. In wild, I think by now it's gone up to like how much is it up to? It's maybe up to 1,000 by now, the amount of cards that you get in wild. So there's really like 400 plus cards that you get in wild, which you don't get in standard. So that really just makes the entire game mode much more chaotic and flexible. It's not as stagnant as it is in standard, but that also means that you really need more skill to play in wild, because there's just so many more combos and decks that you can possibly run into. So here, let's see, I think Possessed Lackey will be good, and then hopefully Possessed Lackey will pull out Voidlord. But if it pulls out Doomguard, then I'm not really that sad. It should still be absolutely fine if it happens to pull out Doomguard. But I want it to pull out Voidlord, obviously. So, I wonder what the interaction is. If I play Spiritsinger Umbra right now, and Voidlord gets pulled out, does the Death Rattle effect get triggered? I'm not really certain about that. Now the only choice is really, do I want to take that chance? And I think I might actually want to take that chance. So let's do this, and then attack that in there, or there. Yes, no, I think there. Oh, it does actually work like that. Okay, that's really, really cool. I wasn't aware of that. So that's really awesome. I learned something new today. It's always cool to be surprised while playing Hearthstone, even though I've been playing Hearthstone since the very beginning. It's always cool to learn new stuff. So this guy, obviously the previous turn things didn't look too good for me, but now things are looking pretty good for me, because even though I am behind in cards right now, I am going to get ahead in cards pretty quickly. So we play that in order to avoid 3 damage to the face, and then we play the Tar Creeper, and the next turn we can play the Doomguard, even though I don't really want to play the Doomguard yet. So let's life tap. Okay, 2 of those. I'm afraid that I don't really have a choice. I basically have to play the Doomguard. If I don't play the Doomguard, I'm going to fall behind by a lot. So I basically have to play it, and unfortunately for me, it discarded 2 of my most powerful cards. So what I wanted it to discard is obviously the 2 lesser amethyst stones. It would have been absolutely amazing if it discarded those, but now we are in a little bit of a pickle, and I just hope that I can draw something good with my hero power. But since those 2 are on that amount of HP, I will simply do this, and that should be fine. Let's see what he pulls out now. Now, unfortunately, we are behind in cards, but I should hopefully be able to get something good. Oh, that's really not good for me. I should hopefully be able to get something good with my hero power. Come on. Oh, Carnivorous Cube, that's not good at all. I think I'm probably going to lose this one, unfortunately. There's not really much that I can do about that. I really need Voodoo Doll. Voodoo Doll will be good. And unfortunately, that is not Voodoo Doll. So, yeah, I think I'm going to lose this one. If I drew Voodoo Doll there, then I could have used Voodoo Doll on him and then just played Defile. But unfortunately, unless I draw Twisting Nether, I am going to lose this one. And that isn't Twisting Nether, let's see, and that's not Twisting Nether either. So that's unfortunate, but that guy has a really good deck there. That deck is called something Priest, Big Priest, I can't remember exactly, but basically it works on the principle that your only spell, the only spell in the entire deck is Mind Control. And as soon as you play that 4/4 troll that he played, I forgot the name, but as soon as you play that troll, you get a massive 10 mana minion, basically for free. So it is pretty damn unfair to be able to pull off that combo. So yeah, that previous deck was a really good deck. It's certainly not a rank 25 deck. But then again, I also am not playing with a rank 25 deck. But I just got really unlucky with the discarding of my two best cards. Honestly, if I didn't get those two cards discarded, I would have been able to possibly win, because on turn 9 I could have just played the Voidlord, and then on turn 10 I could have played Gul'dan, which would have given me a massive advantage. So yeah, that is quite unfortunate. Okay, so this seems like a very aggressive warlock. So we are going to do pretty good, I think, with the turn 3 Tar Creeper, turn 4 Amethyst Spellstone, turn 5 Possessed Lackey. I think that will work out very good. And in case he plays something massive, like whatever, Doomguard or something like that, then we can just kill it with the Voodoo Doll Mortal Coil combo, since that kills anything. Wow, if I had Defile right here, that would be extremely good. So we are just going to do that and that. And the next turn we can play the Possessed Lackey.
Unleash me.
Okay, that's a pretty strong card, but not really. I'm not too worried about that, but I can kill it right now if I want to. I wonder, should I kill it? No, I'm not really worried about it. It is not going to do much damage to me, to be honest. 4 damage isn't a lot. I would much rather get a 5/7 or a 9 or a 3/9 out onto the field than deal with his 4/5. Since 5/7 and 3/9 is better than a 4/5, so I'm not at all bothered about that guy.
So many of us have unleashed me.
Wow, he's got 2 of those. And he didn't even attack with his guy. That is certainly interesting. So I'm going to do that, and then I think I should also life tap. Or I could just play the Mountain Giant if I want to. I really don't see why not. So let's play the Mountain Giant and just basically ignore that guy, because I can simply kill it with a Hellfire or a Mortal Coil. Since what he might do is attack both of those into my guy and then just end his turn, and the next turn he's going to attack that into my little guys, and then I can just kill it with a Mortal Coil. But now, as we see, he's taking a whole other route, and this is going to work out even better for us, since I am now going to get a lot of value from Hellfire. So we do a Hellfire. Let me just think if I want to do the Voodoo Doll first. So that gives a random friendly minion plus 2 HP. So it's gonna land on one of those. Then one of them are going to have 2 HP. The other one is going to have 4 HP. 2 HP and 4 HP. 2 HP, 4 HP. So yeah, I don't really think there's any reason for me to do the Voodoo Doll thing. So I will just do this, and then as we see 2 HP and 4 HP, so we run the 2 HP one in there, 4 HP one in there, and let's just see. I think life tap will be fine, and the next turn I can obviously gain a lot of HP with this, or I can simply play the Voodoo Doll on something that he plays and then Dark Pact my own Voodoo Doll. So let's see, does he have anything good that he's going to play? No, he's just playing a bunch of shit, to be honest. So here I can actually do another Hellfire. Unfortunately I can't do a Possessed Lackey and then a Hellfire. That would have been really quite good. So I'm just going to do the Hellfire and then Mortal Coil, and I'm not going to life tap right now in case he has a Doomguard, since the Doomguard will be able to kill me then. So I will just keep it as it is and then play the Voidlord next turn, and then after that play the Carnivorous Cube on top of the Voidlord, and then he will concede. So obviously there, as we saw, I made the correct decision by not life tapping. So I'm really quite happy about that. So here I have to consider, if I play the Voidlord, the only way for that deck to kill me is with a Dark Bomb or Hellfire. So what are the chances that he has Dark Bomb or Hellfire? It's not a lot, to be honest. So I think the Greater Amethyst blah 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 will be good, and then I can play the Spirit Singer Umbra, and then on the next turn I can play the Possessed Lackey or the Voidlord in order to basically make 100% certain that I can't lose anymore, since really right now the only way for him to win is by killing me with a Dark Bomb or a what do you call it, a Hellfire. But I fortunately have enough to kill him. So as we see, that turn where I decided not to life tap because I was on 7 HP was extremely good, because if I life tapped I would have been dead. Just that little decision of should I life tap or should I not life tap allowed me to win the game there. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Gul'dan versus Jaina.
You asked for it.
Your soul shall be mine!
Okay, Colbert Librarian is good. Unfortunately we are going up against a mage, so Colbert Librarian isn't as good as what it would normally be, but it is still good. So we will play that, and possibly he will choose to use his coin and then Fireball, which we will be absolutely fine with, unless he plays Sorcerer's Apprentice on the next turn. That's really the only thing that we don't want to happen. But if it doesn't do that, then we are absolutely fine. It seems there's a shitload of really aggressive decks in Standard. Obviously, as I said at the beginning, I don't play Standard, so I really don't know what decks there are. As I said, I basically just converted my wild deck into a standard deck by removing a few wild cards. So it's not really like I am up on the current meta or knowledgeable of the current meta at all. But it really seems to me like there's a shitload of aggressive decks, because any decks that have Firefly in it are really aggressive decks. So let us see. I'm obviously not going to attack into that thing. Let us see. If I play Kobold Librarian and I get Voodoo Doll or Tar Creeper, then it's not really that good, so I will rather life tap in the hopes that I get Lesser Amethyst Spellstone, and then if I don't get Lesser Amethyst Spellstone, then I will still play the Kobold Librarian, since I'm not really bothered by not getting it. And there we can see, fortunately, the way that Hearthstone works is that you, if you play a card that draws, like for instance this card that draws a card, the card gets drawn first and then the damage or the ability from the card gets activated. So you draw a card, so you draw the card and then the 2 damage is dealt to your hero. So that's really quite a good instance of that working there, because otherwise my Amethyst Spellstone would have still been a shitty version, the lesser version basically. So that's actually quite interesting. So here I can't really do much with Defile, or I actually can. If I run that in there, no I can't. That won't work. If I run that in there and that in there and then Defile, it won't do much. So I think really the only option for me here is to play Possessed Lackey. I think that's really the only good thing that I can do. So we will do that and play Possessed Lackey and end the turn, and then yeah, that will be good. Unfortunately, I have the Skull of Manari in my hand on turn 5, which is really good, but I don't have any demons to pull out with it, so that's really quite unfortunate. Now we basically just hope he doesn't have sheep. If he has sheep, then we are not happy. So we will do that and play the other Possessed Lackey. Basically no matter what gets pulled out, we will be happy. I could have done the Dark Pact on the Possessed Lackey there to pull out another Voidlord or a Doomguard, but that really wouldn't have benefited me all that much. So let's see if this is a sheep. Okay, so it's not a sheep, fortunately. It's just a fireball, so we are absolutely fine with that. He's already used 12 damage on my minions instead of on my face. So we are very happy with that. So now I can just run the Possessed Lackey in there. And then I could Defile, but that's going to deal 2 damage to whatever gets pulled out. So I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to deal 2 damage to my own stuff, to be honest. So I think I will do that. Let's see. Okay, a Doomguard. That's fine. Let's see. I can kill that thing with a Mortal Coil, so let's go ahead and do that. And I can kill that thing also with Mortal Coil if I want to. I guess that's fine. Okay, and I draw another Doomguard, that's good, so that I can play my Skull of Manari. So that's fine, we are doing really, really good. We have a nice and big hand, and our Skull of Manari can start to pull out minions for free from our deck, so that's really good. Okay, so now that he has played the Servant of Kalimos, we immediately know that this isn't really a aggressive deck so much. It is more of a value deck, like an elemental value deck. So that's pretty good, since we will do very good against a elemental value deck. So let's see here. I think I should life tap. And I get Voodoo Doll. That's not really useful now. As far as I know, if he plays something like, for instance, that, and I play Spirit Umbra and then Voodoo Doll, as far as I know, the Voodoo Doll will immediately kill the Servant of Kalimos. I haven't tested that yet, but as far as I know, that is how it works, and the guy just gives up. But honestly, he probably realized that he wasn't in such a good position, since I just got so much value with the Voidlord getting pulled out, and then Doomguard getting pulled out. It's just really, really difficult for him to deal with that. And we are halfway to the 10 wins that we need. We are really quite flying through these matches. Even though so far we've gone up against really good decks, I really wasn't expecting to run into so many good decks this early on. The last time that I played rank 25, it was just basically a bunch of useless decks, like stuff like Silverback Patriarch and just useless cards in the deck. So we are going up against a Baku hunter. That will mean that his yellow power will deal quite a lot of damage to us each and every turn, or every second turn at least. So that is quite bad, because 3 damage per turn is a lot. That means that we will be dead in less than 10 turns. So that is really bad for us. So he's probably a rush hunter of some kind. And unfortunately I am not getting any good cards. Holy shit, this is a really bad hand for me. So unfortunately we can't do anything about that 4 damage that's coming our way. Yeah, this is not going good at all. Unfortunately right now I can't play the Possessed Lackey and Dark Pact it, so I think I will do that next turn. This turn I will just do this and attack the face, and then next turn I will probably, as I said, play Possessed Lackey, Dark Pact on the Possessed Lackey, and the Possessed Lackey will hopefully pull out the Voidlord. That will be the best thing for it to pull out. Okay, a Doomguard. That's not awesome, but it does possibly give us lethal on him on the next turn. That is possible, since we can play the Faceless Manipulator on top of the Doomguard in order to get an extra 5 damage. So that will be good. So far we have healed for 13 health, since the Lesser Amethyst Spellstone was 5 health and the Dark Pact was 8 health. So we would have been dead on this turn if we did not draw the Dark Pact or the Lesser Amethyst Spellstone. It's amazing the difference that just 2 cards like that can make. Well, he's definitely not got lethal on me. You can't kill like that much damage with 2 mana, which he had. So we have lethal. That is quite unfortunate for him, but I really hate gay rush decks like his. So I am absolutely fine with beating him. I will beat him with glee, because I really don't like decks like that. They really irritate me. And they obviously require 0 skill to play, so that is just even more reason to beat people who play with decks like that.
Gul'dan versus Maiev.
None can escape my fury.
Your soul shall be mine!
Okay, Doomguard we will throw away. Carnivorous Cube I think we should keep. Mortal Coil I think we should throw away. I'm not really aware of what rogue decks there are in Standard. In Wild you get Fatigue Rogue and you get Kingsbane Rogue, but I'm not really aware of what rogue decks there can possibly be in Standard, so I guess we will just have to see what cards he plays. He's possibly a Kingsbane Rogue. I think that Kingsbane Rogue will probably be the easiest rogue for me to beat. I don't think this deck will do very good against Fatigue Rogue, but we will very quickly see what cards he plays, and then we will be able to deduce what kind of a deck he is from the first few cards that he plays. You do actually get an add-on similar to the one that I have, which lists the cards on the left that he has already played. You actually get an add-on which goes even further, in that based on the cards that he has played. So let's say he plays Doomsayer and Fan of Knives, for instance. The deck or the add-on then finds and searches for any decks on the internet that contain Doomsayer and Fan of Knives and any other cards that he has played. So it searches for what deck he is possibly playing with on the internet, so that you can know what deck he is playing with just by the cards that he has already played. Now, that is, in my opinion, extremely unfair, since it removes all of the skill and knowledge that you need to have in order to memorize the entire repertoire of decks that your opponent can possibly have, because that add-on just immediately tells you what decks he has or what decks he could possibly have. And usually that thing is correct. It's like amazing. Your opponent just plays 3 or 4 cards and then it says this is the deck that he's playing with, and it throws out all of the cards that he can possibly have at that moment. It's really shocking how amazing that deck is. or that add-on is, but it's really unfair. As I said, it's really quite unfair to play with an add-on like that, in my opinion. So I think I'm going to do the Carnivorous Cube, and then Dark Pact it, because that means that next turn, or on this turn at least, if he doesn't deal with at least one of these right now, then he's dead. And if he does deal with one of them, then I can just play the Doomguard, and then on my next turn play the Faceless Manipulator on top of the Doomguard. So it will basically guarantee me that he will be dead over a few short turns. So Voodoo Doll and Mortal Coil on the Voodoo Doll is something that I can do. Unfortunately, I can't also play Mountain Giant. I would have liked to be able to play Mountain Giant as well. So, do I want to do that? Voodoo Doll and Mortal Coil. I don't really think that I want to do that, to be honest. I think rather I should just play Mountain Giant and leave it at that. And obviously kill that thing. We're obviously going to kill that thing. And I think, yeah, that should be fine. So we do that and that. And basically now he is in the same predicament as what he was in the previous turn. He has to deal with these cards in order to survive. So he deals with them, or at least with one of them, by spending 6 mana, which I'm absolutely fine with. That just really means that unless he has the Vanish once again, that he will be dead on the following turn. And the chances that he has another Vanish right now is really quite low.
A tactical error.
Undead tell no tales.
Okay, so he is dead. So fortunately he didn't have another Vanish. If he had another Vanish, that would have been really quite unfortunate for us, because he already played 2 saps and a Vanish, so he already delayed his death by like 3 turns, which is quite a lot. He would have been dead 3 turns earlier if he didn't play those cards, or if he didn't have those cards. But yeah, fortunately, as I said, against a Kingsbane Rogue, this deck will do absolutely fine, but against the Fatigue Rogue, the deck will have a little bit of problems, unfortunately, since you already use your hero power to draw a bunch of cards, and that just goes to kill you even quicker, since if you play a deck like this where you have to use card draw, like for instance with your hero power, or any other type of card draw like Cobalt Librarian, then that's really bad against a Fatigue deck, like a Fatigue Rogue for instance. So let's throw away the Faceless Manipulator, keep the Possessed Lackey. Hellfire is pretty good. Defile isn't so good against a Mage. Oh, but the Cobalt Librarian is certainly good. So we are happy with that. Dark Pact is also pretty good. It will serve to keep us alive for a little bit longer if that becomes a necessity. Wow, he actually did that. That's quite interesting. So we will life tap instead of playing the Cobalt Librarian, simply because I want to use my mana efficiently. Since currently I don't have anything to play on my 3rd turn, But now, because I used my hero power and not play the Kobold Librarian, I can now play the Kobold Librarian and use life tap. So just doing that little switch up instead of playing the Kobold Librarian in my second turn and using my hero power instead, that allows me to spend my mana efficiently on the second turn and on the third turn. Okay, so we will just basically play the Tar Creeper, and then next turn the Possessed Lackey, and the turn after that probably the Carnivorous Cube on top of the Possessed Lackey, even though the Carnivorous Cube on top of the Possessed Lackey isn't that good really. Whenever you cast a spell, summon a random 2-cost minion. That's not so bad. You already used the coin, so I'm not really too bothered about that. A 2-cost minion isn't so devastating that I would want to do anything about that right now. So I'm just going to play the Possessed Lackey, and depending on what he does next turn, or this turn, I have a bunch of options. I can attack both of these in there if I want to, or I can, if this thing stays alive, I can play the Carnivorous Cube on it, or if it pulls out a Doomguard, then I can attack with the Doomguard and then play the Carnivorous Cube on top of the Doomguard, and that will give me 2 Doomguards inside my Carnivorous Cube, which I can then use the Dark Pact on. So there's really a bunch of options that I have. I think I will play the Spirit Singer Umbra right now, and then I will attack that in there. Hopefully it pulls out the Voidlord. Okay, no, it pulls out the Doomguard, which is still fine. I don't really have a problem with that. And then I will life tap, I think. Yeah, that should be good. And the next turn, since the Spirit Singer Umbra is on the field now, if I play the Carnivorous Cube on top of any of my minions, the Carnivorous Cube will activate immediately. So let's see if he deals with the Spirit Singer Umbra. And it doesn't, so that's extremely good for us. That basically means that he is going to concede right now if he knows what is good for him. So we do that. Oh, for fuck's sake, I played the Doomguard instead of the Spirit Singer Umbra. That's completely my mistake, for fuck's sake, but it's not the end of the world. We will still win against this guy. As we see, the deck that he's playing with is definitely not a meta deck or anything like that, so we're really not in any danger of dying, to be honest. And we actually have lethal on him right now, so we run all of that into the face, play the Carnivorous Cube on top of that one like I wanted to do the previous turn, and then we just do that. So that's what I wanted to do the previous turn, but I just must click. It happens to the best of us. So we just have 2 more to go, I think. Yeah, 2 more wins, and then we have the new druid hero. That's pretty cool.
Gul'dan versus Liandrin. My blade burns with holy fire.
Your soul shall be mine.
Okay, Mortal Coil is good against the Paladin, Defile is very good against the Paladin, and Tar Creeper is also good against the Paladin.
None will survive.
Okay, so it seems that this is an aggressive paladin. Usually always paladins who choose those cards. As I said with the Firefly, those are almost always aggressive cards. So I think I will coin out the Dark Reaper. That should stop a lot of the aggressiveness that is coming my way, and it will also allow me to remove that thing's Divine Shield so that I can play Defile. So that will be very good. Oh, but he actually chooses to attack with all of his minions. Okay, that's slightly surprising, but not a whole lot, to be honest. And we will use the Mortal Coil on one of those dudes because it is very, very possible that he has cards that can buff his Silver Hand recruits. So we need to try to kill the Silver Hand recruits each and every turn. Unfortunately, this turn it's not really possible. So, well, I think I still have to play the Defile. It's not a very valuable Defile, to be honest, but I still think I have to do it, since if he plays any cards that buffs his Silver Hand recruits, then I basically just lose. If he gets 7 or if he gets that buffing on 3 of his Silver Hand recruits, he can really gain a lot of damage. Okay, Carnivorous Cube. So I will play the Spirit Singer Umbra here, and then on my next turn I will play the Carnivorous Cube on my Spirit Singer Umbra. That will give me 2 additional Spirit Singer Umbras.
Handle it! Handle it!
Oh, that is going to hurt, unfortunately. Okay, so I am extremely close to being dead. Unfortunately, I don't have 7 mana right now, otherwise I could have killed that thing. So basically my only choice here is Hellfire. I really don't have another choice. And then I just basically pass my turn, or pass the rest of my turn. I'm not going to life tap. And I'm dead, unfortunately. I've seen this deck before. It's a rush deck. It's through and through a rush deck. You just basically throw everything into your opponent's face. But unfortunately my hand was really quite poor. I didn't have a lot of the necessary cards, like Possessed Lackey would have been really good, since that could have pulled out Voidlord. And even if I had Skull of Manari on turn 5, that would have been good, since then I could have pulled out the Voidlord also. Or even if I had Hellfire a little bit earlier, that would have been great. But yeah, as I said, that deck basically just goes straight for the face. Not a lot of skill involved in playing that deck at all.
Gul'dan versus Jaina.
You asked for it.
Your soul shall be mine!
Okay, we will throw that away, and we will keep the Hellfire and the Lesser Amethyst Spellstone. Oh, 2 Hellfires are not is not good. I definitely don't want 2 Hellfires. That's a little bit too much fire for my taste. But we can't do anything about it now. We just have to hope that we can win the match. We could if we wanted to. Fortunately, that's one of the quote-unquote good things about playing below rank 20. We could, if we wanted to, concede right now, and we wouldn't be disadvantaged in the slightest, since you don't lose any stars or anything like that. Because I already lost my win streak, you can just really concede and it doesn't disadvantage you at all. So for instance, if you get a bad hand or anything like that, then you can just concede if you really want to. But it seems my opponent also has a pretty bad hand, so I think we should be able to do pretty fine against this guy, depending on what he plays. Okay, so he used the coin in order to get that thing out. That's not too bad. We will just do a Hellfire. We could obviously have played Spiritsinger Umbra there, and then on our next turn play Possessed Lackey. That would have been pretty good. But my thinking is that he has a lot of spells in his hand already. Cheap spells like, I don't know, Arcane Blast, Arcane Missiles, stuff like that. So we don't want that to get used while the Vex Crow is on the field. Because he obviously coined out that Vex Crow for a reason. He wouldn't have coined it out if he didn't already have a lot of spells in his hand, in my opinion. So here we can just play the Spiritsinger Umbra. I think that will be fine. And let's see what that secret is. Mirror Entity, that's fine. I don't think that will be a problem, since I doubt his deck has any Death Rattle cards in it. But that does unfortunately mean that he can just run his Spiritsinger Umbra into my Spiritsinger Umbra and use his hero power on it.
Time runs out on me.
Okay, so he chose to sheep it instead. That's a little bit of a weird move. I wouldn't have done that because there's much more valuable things for him to possibly sheep in this deck. For instance, the Possessed Lackey. If he sheeped the Possessed Lackey, then he could have basically killed a Possessed Lackey, which is a 2/2, and a Voidlord or a Doomguard with one card. So the sheep would have killed a Doomguard or a Voidlord in addition to the Possessed Lackey, simply because you stop the Possessed Lackey from pulling out any demons then. So that was a little bit of a weird move. I wouldn't have done that.
Mere baubles, but I take.
Okay, we get another Possessed Lackey, so I think unfortunately I can't do something like run this in there and then do Hellfire, since that will damage my own dude. I can't just do Hellfire alone either, because that one will be on 1 HP and that one will be on 1 HP. And I don't want that either. So... and I'm getting rather low on HP. So I need to remember that also. So I think I play that there, see what I get. Voidlord, that's fine. And then I think I will do Hellfire and then Dark Reaper. I think that should be fine. My health is getting a little bit low, I have to admit. If he has like double Frostbolt and Ice Lance right now, then I will be very close to dead, but the chances of him having that is not a whole lot, to be honest. So I think I should be fine. I think the chances of me winning this game is really high, simply because of the amount of healing that I still have left, and I now have my Voidlord on the field, so I'm going to get a lot of value from that. Hopefully, to be honest, he is going to use all of his burn cards, like his fireballs and stuff like that, on my face, so that my minions can just control the board into infinity. And as we see, he actually does have a little bit of burn, so he could have thrown that at my face, which would have brought me very low in health, obviously. So I think we play the Skull of Manari, or I could play the Possessed Lackey and then play the Dark Pact on top of the Possessed Lackey. I think that might actually be a better option in my opinion, simply because I need to get a little bit of health. So we will do that. Unfortunately, the Possessed Lackey now is going to pull out the Voidlord, because I pulled out the Doomguard with my hero power, but it is always better to use your hero power before playing any cards, simply because you might draw a card which will change your turn, which will change what you would have done on that turn. So it's just always better to use your hero power first before playing any cards like Possessed Lackey or anything like that, in my opinion. So let us see. I can create another copy of the Voidlord if I want. I think I'm obviously going to throw this on there. I think that is pretty much the obvious choice, and then I think I'm going to also play the Skull of Manari. So let's do that, and run those two in there. And yeah, I think this guy should just basically concede right now, because he's got a lot fewer cards than what I have, and I've gotten a lot of value already with the Voidlord and stuff like that.
Time runs out on me.
Good demons are hard to find.
A paltry task. Who dares summon me? A paltry task. A paltry task.
I wonder. Time runs out on me.
This one will prove very useful. Probably.
Okay, so it's time for the final game, and then we have the new druid hero.
Gul'dan versus Maiev. None can escape my fury.
Your soul shall be mine.
Okay. Wow, this hand is actually really quite good. Mortal Coil is good for the Cavern Shiny Finder. That thing that has 3 attack and 1 HP. So the Mortal Coil is really good for that.
Hail, friend.
Okay, so far he has a really slow turn, but unfortunately my turn is also very slow, since I don't have any cards to play basically, so I just have to pass this turn basically. That's unfortunate, but unavoidable. Okay, Tar Creeper isn't awesome, but it's something at least. But I think instead of playing Tar Creeper I will play Spirit Singer Umbra, since if he doesn't kill it somehow, then I can play the Carnivorous Cube on top of the Spirit Singer Umbra. Okay, Cobalt Librarian will at least upgrade our Amethyst Spellstone. And then we will just play the Tar Creeper. And unfortunately we still have a very bad hand. Wow, he actually used that on a very weak card. Since using an Eviscerate on a Tar Creeper is really quite unnecessary. Holy shit, I am getting very bad cards here. I basically have to play the Carnivorous Cube as it is, because I have to get something on the field. I can't just not play anything. So yeah, my hand is really bad. Okay, so let's see. The Possessed Lackey will pull out the Voidlord or the Doomguard. I would actually rather want the Doomguard to get pulled out. So let's see what gets pulled out here.
Oh yes, they'll serve me now.
Okay, it pulls out the Doomguard, that's good. That means we can kill that thing. The reason why I want to pull out the Doomguard instead of the Voidlord is because that deck uses Shadow Step in order to pull the Vilespine Slayer back to the hand, so that they can just play the Vilespine Slayer for 3 mana again and then kill one of your guys. So they just get a lot of value from the Vilespine Slayer. So that is why I wanted the Voidlord or the Doomguard instead of the Voidlord. Whenever you play an echo card, gain 1/1. Okay, so that's not really a problem. Let's see here. I can play the Carnivorous Cube on that thing, but I don't currently have a way to kill my own Carnivorous Cube. I could play the Greater Amethyst Spellstone on my Carnivorous Cube if I wanted to, but I don't really want to do that. So I think rather I will just play the Voidlord with the coin, and then I will kill that thing, and then next turn I can possibly play the Carnivorous Cube on the Doomguard for a lot of value, since the Doomguard already is on 1 HP, so that really gives you a lot of value. Okay, and there's another Vilespine Slayer. As I said, this deck basically gets a lot of value by being able to jump those Vilespine Slayers back to their hand, and we don't really want that to happen. Okay, so I can run that in there and then do that, and now I can simply do that. And then if I use a Faceless Manipulator on top of that thing, then it will give me another 2 Doomguards inside of that Carnivorous Cube. So I get a lot of value from that. Then I basically get 4 Doomguards, which is, if you do the math quickly, means that he is dead, because he's basically used all of his mana already. So that is quite unfortunate for him. Let me just see. So we basically do that, then do that, then do that, and that means 20 damage to the face, unfortunately for you. And it's a quite unexpected 20 damage, because I mean I only had a Carnivorous Cube on the field, but simply by playing the Faceless Manipulator and the Amethyst Spellstone I get 20 damage burst all of a sudden. That's just basically because of the Carnivorous Cube and the Faceless Manipulator, because if you Faceless Manipulator the Carnivorous Cube, you also copy whatever he has already eaten. So you can get quite a lot of disgusting value by doing that little combo, and it can be even more disgusting if you already have Spirit Singer Umbra on the field. So yeah guys, we have Lunara. She is, if you've played WoW, she is one of the most famous druids in the Warcraft lore. I believe she was... No, I'm thinking of the other hero, which is already in Hearthstone. I will think of the name just now. I forgot the name. Whisperwind or something like that. I can't exactly remember. Let's see here. What is her name? Tyrande. Her name is Tyrande Whisperwind. And Tyrande Whisperwind is actually a druid, kind of, in the Warcraft lore, in World of Warcraft, but she is Malfurion's wife, basically. Or I don't know if they are really married, but basically they kind of get it on in the World of Warcraft lore, so they are basically considered husband and wife. So that's Malfurion's wife, and obviously, as we know, this is Malfurion. So now we are going to replace Malfurion with Lunara.
Leaps and bounds ahead of you.
And now
Bounds ahead of you.
we have a nice golden hero. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, that's her relationship to Hearthstone. She is the daughter of Cenarius, because I knew she had a relationship with Hearthstone already. I just couldn't remember. I thought it was with Malfurion, but she is the first daughter of Cenarius. And obviously, if you don't know who Cenarius is, I don't think I actually have Cenarius. Let's see here. I don't believe I have him. Oh, there he is. So this is Cenarius. And he is like basically the most famous druid in the Hearthstone, in the World of Warcraft lore. He's basically equal to Malfurion. Malfurion is very, very famous, also due to Malfurion's brother, who is obviously Illidan Stormrage, and obviously Malfurion's surname is Stormrage also, so it's Malfurion Stormrage and Illidan Stormrage. The two of them are brothers, and Cenarius is closely tied to all of them. And then Cenarius is obviously tied to Lunara, who we now also have. So that's pretty cool. Now all of my druid decks, I don't think... Oh yes, I do have one druid deck. My druid deck will now be animated. So now basically I just need to get Mumsy or Numsy, whatever it is, the warlock hero, and then I think all of my heroes are animated. Yes, then all of my heroes are animated, so I only need to get Numsy now, and then I have a fully animated hero set basically. So yeah guys, that took I think less than 2 hours. I haven't been keeping an eye on the time, but it should have taken less than 2 hours, and we pretty quickly got 10 wins with this deck that I quickly slapped together from this deck basically, which works basically on the same principle. It just doesn't have a bunch of giants. Basically, if you remove these giants and Naga Sea Witch and Lower Theb and stuff like that, then it's basically exactly the same. It still has Dark Pact, which you play on Voidcaller in order to pull out stuff like Voidlord and Mal'Ganis from your hand. So it works basically the same as the Skull of Manari. I used to have Skull of Manari in this deck, but I chose to remove it in favor of Lower Theb. So yeah guys, that's basically it. Thanks a lot for watching. As I said, the channel reached 10 million views a couple of days ago, and currently it's standing on 10,000,003 views, so I gained about 300,000 views over the past 2 days since the Witchwood release, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I just wanted to do a little bit of a video in order to at least celebrate the fact that the channel has reached 10 million views, the 10 million view milestone. I will probably do another one at like 20 million views or something like that, because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to reach that milestone within this year still. Since, as I said at the beginning, the channel is just growing and growing each and every day, gaining more subscribers, getting more views each and every day, and that's really, really good. I'm really happy about that. I will also be putting a bunch of card openings at the end of this video. That's just basically card openings that I did with the recent event that there was, where you got something like 13 or something like that free card packs, and then I also bought a few card packs with gold in order to fill up my collection a little bit. So I think it's around 50 card packs or so that I'm going to show you guys. It's not voiced because I just basically recorded it. I didn't talk over it. My mic wasn't on at that time, so it's just basically a bunch of card packs, and I'm going to play a little bit of cool Hearthstone music over it. So feel free to stick to the end and watch that if you want to. So yeah guys, that's pretty much it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.